Hi, I'm Ken Wigley. Jane and I farm at the top of Glen Lyon, at the top of Lake Ohau. The valley runs about 30 kilometres up into the Southern Alps. We're 45 minutes drive around the lake up from inland from Twizel. 45% of the income comes from Hereford cows, and the sheep are mainly merinos. It's quite an extensive property. We lease it off the government, so we're quite restricted what we can do as far as planting trees, ploughing up land, putting tracks in. But that's good because I think all young farmers probably thinking too much about making a living rather than looking after the land.
So what are the trees on Glen Lyon done for you as a farmer?
I've given me a lot of enjoyment. I think all farmers like to see things growing, and a bit of shelter. We should have planted more. Like all farmers, I think we should have probably say that, well, most farmers probably say that looking back they should have planted more trees, especially shelter, because it's quite a harsh climate. We get snow and a lot of northwest wind and the odd southerly, but in the winter and early spring the northwest winds are pretty cold, very cold, but pretty bitter. Mm-hmm. What else has it done for me? The ornamental trees that we've planted on the driveway and garden, it's been very satisfying. It's a good tree growing, quite a good tree growing area, quite a high rainfall. Roger Belton came to me 10 years ago and suggested a joint venture, and it's looking back, and it's been great because I think it's 60 hectares of Douglas fir and 3 or 4 rows of pine on the windward side to protect. The pine grows a bit faster, so that protects the Douglas fir. And it's been great because even though my wife Jane is very keen on trees, and she 10 or 12 years ago she'd been trying to talk me into growing bigger areas of Douglas fir. My reasoning was that by the time it matures, 50 years, I was going to be 90, 95, but as I say, we're doing the joint venture. It's been great because it's been an incentive to get the 60 hectares planted. All I did was put the fences up, and Roger organised everything else, and they've grown really, really well.
And that's with a bit of foreign investment or French investment as well. Roger, was it?
Yes, yeah. Roger's wife is French, and her family have been into growing oak trees in France. And
tell us how you're handling the tree spread issue. I know it's a thorny issue, it's a polarising issue in the region.
Well, we've spent quite a bit of money on contorted pine, controlling the contorted pine, but the contorted pine were planted by the Forestry Service in 1967. So it wasn't compulsory for me to spend the money, but I felt after seeing others wilding spread throughout the South Island. I haven't been to the North Island so much, but there is wilding spreading up there too, and I thought, well, every year that goes by there's more seed being produced, so we spent quite a bit of money and got cutting gangs in. I think that I started that 5 years ago. We carry these fold-up saws when we're mustering, or give them to the people that are hunting tara or whatever, and so hopefully we manage the wildings. It will be an ongoing thing, but any shelter we plant now, or any trees we plant now, mainly gums and willows, we're looking at something that's not going to spread.
So long term, the trees you've inherited and you've planted, how do you see that as a legacy for retirement income or farm income?
Yes, it'll be good, especially the Douglas fir. I think it's going to be a long time before timber is outdated. I mean, you only have to look at the Christchurch earthquake. You know, San Francisco is a lot of wooden buildings over there because of the earthquake, and a lot of the rebuilding after the big earthquake was in timber. And I think they should be using timber more in Christchurch.
Some of that new planting on the flats, so that's how were they narrow shelter belts or wide shelter belts?
I should have made them wider, and we've had issues with it does get a bit waterlogged out there, and I've planted. I've had to go larch out there because I was told larch handle the wet better than Douglas fir, but larch struggled out there as well. So mainly but another species I'm keen on, which I didn't mention, or we're keen on, that we didn't mention, is native trees, natives, toi toi and flax, and other natives, various natives grow quite well out there. And it's great in the garden. My wife Jane planted a lot of koais, so we get wood pigeons and lots of bellbirds and the odd tui. I think carbon has got a future. Farmers, majority of farmers, we try to farm sustainably, and majority of countries around the world are. The Kyoto Agreement has had its problems, but I think carbon credits are here to stay, and there is quite good profits. Even I think it's the
650.
650. You know, even at 650, I think it's something that you've got to think about when you're planting pines or whatever species. And all the optimists think that in 10 years' time the price of carbon is going to be a lot more. 30 years ago when I started farming, there weren't many farmers that had very high producing stock, maybe stud farmers, and the farmers that were doing well were the ones that had high producing stock, who've really fed their stock well. And now you see a lot bigger percentage of farmers that are feeding their stock, have better high producing stock, and that helps with the animal welfare. And most of the good farmers have shelter. And you know, as I'll say it again, I wished I'd planted more. And we are planting, but I wish I'd planted more in the past.